my God, you guys, I need someone to explain this to me like I am 5. How are people angrier at 50 Cent for exposing a documented predator than they are at the predator himself? This math is not mathing. That's like being mad at the fire alarm for being loud while the house is actively on fire. But here we are. Suddenly, the industry, Marlon Wayans, Ja Rule, Dr. Umar, where's the school? Where is the school? Suddenly the industry is unified, emotional, deeply offended, not by abuse, not by extortion, but by exposure. And the loudest people, these are the men we're told to respect. Baby, let's talk about this. And I have a theory, and I need everyone to pause with me for a second. Because what we're watching right now is not, I believe, organic outrage. This is not random disagreement. This is not people just having opinions. This is not coincidence. Maybe this is Diddy sanctioned coordination, or it looks like it. Hip-hop has never agreed on anything, ever. But suddenly we got rappers, comedians, blue shirt, red shirt, hip-hop journalists, Dr. Umar, all landing on the same talking points at the same time, aimed at the same person. And that person is not the predator. It's 50 Cent. That alone should make you lift an eyebrow. Again, let's get back to the most obvious question. Why is the anger aimed at the man exposing the allegations instead of the man accused of committing them? Because not one of these men is actually screaming, investigate the claims. They're screaming, yo, why is 50 doing this? That's not concern, that's containment. That's literally saying, yo, shut this down before it goes somewhere we can't control. And it gets weirder when you realize this reaction didn't happen when women spoke. It didn't happen when letters surfaced. It didn't happen when stories circulated quietly for years. But the moment a peer with power stepped in, oh, now it's a crisis of the Black community. We need to stand together. Ja Rule, sir. First let's start with Ja Rule, right? Because we got to talk about him. Because Ja, respectfully, didn't 50 already end your career once? I'm not even joking. Do you want him to take your retirement? The last time Ja Rule jumped into a public war with 50 Cent, the result was memes, silence, and a case study in what not to do. He is a cautionary tale in hip-hop. Cautionary. So when Ja Rule pops out the noun to defend Diddy, people aren't thinking, wow, look at his moral courage. They're thinking, Ja, who asked you? And how come in the age of filler, you still have not gotten that chin implant? It'd be so easy. It could all be so easy, but you rather make it hard. Literally. What is the incentive? What is the upside? What is worth risking public embarrassment again? That's when people start wondering, is this loyalty that they're showing to Diddy, or is it fear? And let's talk about the blue shirt, green shirt, hip-hop journalists. And to me, this is the most important and most uncomfortable group. The ones who call themselves the hip-hop historians, the hip-hop gatekeepers, the hip-hop authorities, the hip-hop culture. These are men who had access, brag about being in the rooms, covered all the parties, protected all their sources, and they chose silence. Because if you are telling me that you were so much in the mix that someone's going to tell you they fear death, someone's going to tell you this, somebody's going to tell you that, you know, you can say, well, since you got your degree and everything and you know so much, how come you ain't tell us about Cassie? How come you ain't tell us about Jane? How come you ain't tell us about Capricorn Clark? How come you ain't tell us about Mia? How come you ain't tell us about Kurt Burrows? How come you ain't tell us about all those people? Anyway, now suddenly they're outraged. Not outraged by the abuse, not outraged by the exploitation. They're outraged by the documentary. And people are asking, very reasonably, where was this energy before? Because when journalists attack the format instead of the facts, baby, that's a red flag to me. And when multiple journalists who never agree suddenly align, that's not journalism. To me, that sounds like self-preservation. Because if a system enabled abuse, they had to answer what they knew and why they didn't say anything. Now, there is a theory going on in the streets. Y'all want to hear it? Okay, fine. Their theory is that Diddy was making calls. Now, let's get to the part everyone is whispering about, but nobody wants to say out loud. The streets are saying that Diddy has been talking, calling people, checking in, reminding them of rooms, reminding them of nights, reminding them of, oh, you were there. Because that 140 hours of footage, baby, that's not just footage of one man. That's footage of who came through, who stayed, who laughed, who normalized, who looked away, who said nothing. And suddenly, men who have nothing to gain are risking their reputations to shut this down, which leads to the obvious question, are they afraid they're on tape? And again, I'm not saying they was on tape doing freaky deaky, but on tape just even cutting it up and talking to Diddy. Nobody is saying the footage that 50 says he has doesn't exist. They're saying that 50 shouldn't release it. That's not a denial. To me, that's preemptive damage control. That's what people say when they're scared of what context might reveal. Again, here's another layer people aren't talking about enough: the ego. Some of these men are furious they weren't included in the documentary. They wanted to be the authority, the narrator, the historian, the final word. And instead, 50 walked right past them, went to two black filmmakers, women, to go and literally walk right past them with a platform called Netflix that they don't control. Baby, that has to hurt. Because gatekeepers hate when the gate is bypassed. So now it's, oh, this is irresponsible. This hurts the culture. Which is translation, we didn't approve this. And oh my God, we got to talk about Dr. Umar, the accountability gaslight. Now do y'all know who Dr. Umar is? If you don't, he's a Pan-African person who frauded, should have built a school. There's no school. It's 10 years later. Apparently, he always talked about snow bunnies, but he was caught talking to a snow bunny in the mall. It's all very embarrassing for him, of course. His claim to fame was defending Diddy. Okay, Dr. Umar says he has a problem with black people holding black people accountable. He frames exposure as self-hatred. He calls 50's documentary fake community service. Okay, so let me understand this logic. The Catholic Church harmed thousands of children. Jeffrey Epstein trafficked women internationally. Harvey Weinstein destroyed lives. But when a black man is exposed, now accountability is betrayal. So justice is only acceptable when the predator is white. And let's be honest, this is the same rhetoric that's always been used to protect harm. Don't air it out. Handle it quietly. Protect the family image. That doesn't protect communities. It protects predators. And respectfully, you cannot preach about protecting black families while telling women to be silent about abuse. That's not Pan-Africanism. That's patriarchy in a dashiki, which is, oddly enough, Dr. Umar. The most disgusting thing is I think they're all trying to use women as shields. This is the funniest and darkest part. The streets are saying, I mean, if you really want to know, they thought they could use women, black women, to cancel 50 and hopefully get public outrage to get the doc pulled. They want to frame it as, oh, he's exploiting abuse. He's profiting off of trauma. They assume women would do the heavy lifting. But women, maybe we looked at this and we said, nah, that's not our problem. So now you've got men who ignored survivors, questioned timelines, debated shirt colors, suddenly pretending to be offended on women's behalf. Boy, please, if you cared about women, you would have shown up years ago. You would have showed up months ago. You would have showed up weeks ago. You would have showed up days ago. This is why Diddy's plan is failing. At least I think this is Diddy's plan. Again, the strategy is collapsing. 50 Cent is not scared of being disliked. He's not scared of backlash. He's not scared of burning bridges. This man runs on leverage, receipts, patience, mutually asserted destruction. And instead of panicking, he's calm. He's warning. He's smiling. He's saying, all right, keep it coming. That's not bluff energy. That's countdown energy. The bottom line is, this does not feel like moral outrage to me. It feels like fear. It does not feel like journalism. It feels like damage control. And it does not feel like protection of the culture. Because if it were, it would have protected people before now. The streets have been asking, who got the call? Who got nervous? Who remembered a room they shouldn't have stayed in? I'm not saying anyone is guilty. I'm saying this level of coordination doesn't come from nothing. And the loudest people right now, well, baby, usually they have the most to lose. At least that's what I'm hearing. Anyway, you guys, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.